I have 20 minutes to take you on a tour of human history. Settle back. We're going to hit the high spots. From the beginning of consciousness and the time that human beings, our ancestors, were related to one another outside the nuclear family, small groups, family groups, in different regions around the world. Imagine you're looking at the history of the human race, and you're looking back through time, and you're over Asia, and you're over Africa, and you're over North America and South America. I will leave the scientists to give you the details. We're getting the big picture in 15 minutes, okay? In these areas, there will be small groups, and they will be engaging in something that's heroic and impossible. As really one of the weakest animals going around, they will be about survival. And they will do it because we're here in this room. Over the millennia of time, moving back, we have a story of survival and creativity. One of the weakest animals ever invented, ever created, ever to walk on this earth, we are it. But we had a couple of secret weapons. We had the opposing thumb, we were tool makers, and we had a mind that had capacity to function and grow and retain and create language. Those two skills moved us into this room today. Buckminster Fuller created a geodesic dome. We are inheritors of a long line of human history that dealt with survival. Well, in that process of dealing with survival, they dealt with something very rudimental and essential in the human experience: fear. Everywhere they moved, imagine the seasons, the storms, the sky, the animals. Not dinosaurs necessarily, but those close, the snakes, the small things. All of those man-eating, human-eating animals. Now I know it can be drawn out in really dramatic and fun kind of ways, but human beings move through the millennia, creative and responsive to their situation, scared to death. But they did it. And they did it in good order. And they retained two ways of being in the world. And it's really remarkable that we were able to hold it together in our own minds and our consciousness. We became aware of fear, and we used it for motivation, but at the same time, we learned, expressed, and grew love. Very few mothers, very few fathers hate their offsprings. There are some sick ones among us. But the magic of birth and the ability to be with one another and to laugh around a campfire or finish up a building or do a good job, humanity found possible to reach out to others beyond their kinship relations, to those that they associated with, and become a community, to express relationship, to find jobs they could do together, to understand that being a human being was having the opportunity to be engaged with another person, many other people, to do something big. But at the same time, we were always fearful of the elements, of the powers beyond us, that were a mystery to us and beyond our ability to really have control over it. So here we are, voyagers, adventurers, explorers, pilgrims in life, learning as we go, adapting with marvelous skill to the seasons, the changes of atmosphere, all that came our way. And we proliferated, and we became who we are today. And that history really is short, but we are here today. So we've got fear and love, our twin inheritors, our twin energies, the two opposites of our lives. Well, with fear came the possibility of some witty, some cunning, some thoughtful, some caring, trying to explain to their kin and their friends what it was all about. And they created and they imagined gods in the sky, gods in the wind, God in the thunder, God in the earth, God in the rivers. That power over there that was making all of this happen, making life possible. They gave that God, that entity, that power all types of attributes, all types of gifts, all types of power. So our fear of what was natural and what was there forced us to come into some type of relationship. Well, for so many generations and so many centuries, it became one of sacrifice. It became one of looking up and saying, please, 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 of begging. And of course, there's always my ancestors in this profession who explained how, we weren't living right, so we had to do this to get it done right. If we really wanted good, you got the idea. A priestcraft always arose. The wise people always arose. Many of them are very meaningful. Many of them were very well-meaning. Many of them were really trying and caring and tried and saw the people in their hurt and in their fear, trying to help them get through life with some type of meaning. Well, something has happened. We've moved through the last 1,000 years, the last 2,000 years, the last 3,000 years, and there's been a progress and a change. The evolutionary tract is real. So somewhere 500 years ago, I don't know, when we started to really realize that the power is not so much necessarily up there, out there, as within us, and within the energy that is inherent in life, and it can't not be manipulated. It doesn't work that way. There is a flow and a passion and a power in life that is not with a human conscience. It's not a big granddaddy in the sky. It's not somebody that controls pulling this and pulling that. It's not something out there that we can make sacrifice to, that we can plead to. It's an energy that with our creativity and with our love, that other element, we can seek to participate in. And I mention it every once in a while, but in standing in front of you is a dead man talking and walking. Nearly 5 years ago, I got a 32-year-old black female woman from Baton Rouge, Louisiana's heart. And it's in my chest now functioning for me. We are magicians. Our people did that. No great God from the sky did that. A lot of testing, a lot of dying, a lot of hurting, a lot of sacrifice. So here we are in this century, living in a world that cannot find ways to make peace with one another, who finds all the isms that can hate and separate and use for manipulation of power available for folks to use. And we, as a faithful remnant in this dome, are a covenanted faith who say we will be in relationship with life based on 7 principles. We will respect the fact that there's inherent worth in every human being. We will use the idea of democratic processes to be available to one another. We will search a spiritual path with reason and with understanding. All those 7 principles that are on the back of your order of service, we apply to our living. So Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith that makes promises one to another around a set of principles. Not an obligatory, let me back up. Reading this week about what's going on in the Vatican and looking at the Vicar of Christ and looking at the inheritors of the faith of the 12, the 11, looking at the decisions they made for the faithful flock, and it makes me want to cry. We have a fresh new face from South America, Pope Francis, who's trying to drag his faith into the 21st century, to understand that people is what Jesus was about, and liberating human beings to be their full potential in the eyes of the Creator is what he preached. And that God don't make no junk and God don't make no mistakes. Gay, lesbian, black, white, green, yellow, I don't care who you are, life has created you. We do not choose who we are like that pencil. We're inherited of what we're made for. And what's inside matters. We have to be tested to be about who we are. So rather than a faith that says, okay, we're going to keep doing things the same way, we're going to keep killing people who disagree with us. We're going to keep corrupting and raping this earth because we'll get to heaven or somebody will come and rescue us. We take seriously in this room the fact that we have the inheritance of being co-creators with the life force. And we are invited to be a part of that participation. And we've made great strides. I spoke of the science that's given me the life to speak to you this morning. And we are able to do magnificent things. We're able to move beyond the limits of our regionalism, our nationality, and we're able to understand one another and appreciate one another. So we're faced with two choices. We can continue to live with fear, see that which is different as a threat, or we can function by love to see that we can embrace that which is different, find the energies and creativity and talents they bring to the situation, and be about creating a better and a more beautiful life. Now, you may be wanting to get to heaven and get rid of this and have a party, but I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave an imprint like that pencil does that says Doak was here and he showed more love than he did fear. I want you to say in your life, I showed more love than I did fear. And my efforts were not so much about survival as gifting, of sharing with my family, my friends, my occupation, my gifts, and making it a little better. If we don't increase our tribe, if we don't change the way we are in this world, ain't nobody going to rescue us. And I think that's the curse you and I have also. We realize the reality of how important it is to have a meaningful and purposeful life dedicated to principles that are worthy. Not magic, not counting on a faith that says it'll get all right if you just do this and you do that. You walk up and you say, where's my job? Who needs my help? Who's hurting in my life that I can give a blessing to? Not just I love you, but be around. And I'm a hater, guys. I want to be myself. I'm a recluse. You people are pains in the butt. You require me to be engaged. You require me to care. But when I care, I know who I am. Remember that. When you care, you come to your full meaning of life. You can just be another survivor. You can just be another warrior. You can just be another destructor. You can just be another user. Plenty of those around. Seems like they get all the toys and all the joy, don't they? I've had a lot of funerals in my 40 years. I've buried a lot of lives. And then nobody takes it with us. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith. It's a faith that says to life, we are a part of it. We're going to make agreements horizontal. We're going to make agreements with one another that we're going to love one another. We're going to lift one another up. We're going to respect the differences as treasures, not as something to be threatened. We're going to be a part of the solution. We're going to find ways to restore this earth. We're going to try to find ways to feed our people. We're going to try to find ways to provide for health services. There's not going to be a utopia. One of the sad things Jesus said, and so many people have fun with it, he said something to the effect, or it's recorded, about the poor. Well, the poor will be with you forever. Yeah, the problems will be with us forever. And each generation gets an opportunity, comes to bat. Each generation gets to make it better than it was. We are unmoored. We are separated from the absolutes of 500 and 600 and 700 years ago. The Protestant Reformation, the Enlightenment, all that severed those ties that said we're going to depend on a God. Now, a lot of the world hadn't caught up with that. Radical Islam, fundamentalist Christianity, a lot of different ways of being, hedonism, nihilism, those things haven't heard the news. We're all on the same team. We all have to participate in saving this life so it can be bequeathed to those past that come after us. The past is past. Have we learned anything? Can we learn anything? Retire the old gods. Find a new, fresh God that can serve our purposes. And that God is love, and it's manifest with you and I and with those around us when we creatively involve in finding solutions for the problems that face us. Whether it be replacing hearts, whether it be touching spirits, whether it be blessing those who are just so lonesome and so sad that they don't know what to do with themselves. In a world of loneliness, we need pilgrims and we need apostles and we need angels. The good news is they're there. The bad news is it's us. Amen.